48-hour art check, round 31. So,
all right.
The art check is now in a midlife crisis. We're into our 30s.
Exactly. We're kind of like, is this like career years now? Like, is this really what I chose?
Yeah. I've been at this
it.
job for a while, and I don't know if I love it.
I love it.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So, Cory, you're probably pretty sleep deprived right now. It's a suspicion.
I went to bed at 5 a.m. this morning. So, the fun thing is my son is very pleasant as long as you're standing and holding him. That's it. Other than that, he's only at night. During the day, no problems. At night, he just screams if he's not being held while you're standing up. So it's fun. It's good time.
Exciting. It's funny. I will say I miss those times, but I also remember during those times, and I'm sure you do too, because you've been through it before. It's like everyone will say, like, "Oh, soak it up now," because they grow so quick.
Yeah.
And it is a really cool time, but man, it's chaos too.
It's awesome.
Oh,
and I feel like people say that.
Joined us.
Oh, good. I feel like people say that during the worst times, like your kid's losing their crap in the middle of the grocery store, and the last thing you want to hear is savor the moment, and somebody's going to come along and say that, and I want to be like, this particular moment is not worth savoring, but later I will when they're not being a giant monster.
Savor the moment while your child is throwing a tantrum in the store.
This huge public embarrassment where everyone in the store hates you. Savor this.
And they'll feel like an angel the whole day, except that one moment in the store. Yep, in there.
That's good times.
All right, so let's dip into it. I know that you got a lot done, so let's start with you. I feel like I didn't quite hit the mark as well.
So the minor thing that I did, which is something that I wanted to do for a little while, is just get another design done for stickers and shirts and whatever else. And so this here is my antisocial butterfly. And I actually looked at, I did a little research. I did this during convocation, so I was in my Harry Potter robes while I was drawing this. And I just found out that people take me literally when I say that. I don't actually wear Harry Potter robes. That's just what I call the weird master's educational robes you have to wear.
It is kind of Potter-esque.
It definitely is. But while I was doing that, I was researching like actual symptoms of antisocial disorder, and so a lot of the symbolism of what you're seeing here is actually part of that. So that was kind of a fun one. But last night I actually went through and I lettered the entire book because I wasn't allowed to go to sleep. So I was up doing that, and you can kind of see the lettering. If I zoom in on this, I'll show you the font. It's pretty cool. I do like it. Oh, it's not gonna. Let me go down like this. So I spent a considerable amount of time like trying to find a font that like looks right, and I really like what this font looks like because it matches, I feel like, the brush style that I'm using, and I tried to go through and do where it like is curving or filling in the space so that it's more playful than just like straight telling. And so I think it turned out pretty well. I like a lot of what's going on. But those are
I really like the way it pairs with the images. It's a good choice.
Yeah, thanks. And I have a thing where I try to not use free fonts. I don't like free fonts for a number of reasons. But this one is actually only $7. So, and there's some significant problems with it. The C and the R are really problematic, and so I'm gonna have to rework some things but I want to get like the final text down before I go in and like hand draw the corrections in the alphabet that I need to do.
Yeah, like the R isn't so bad like inside of a letter, but as a front letter, it's a problem. You know?
Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big problem when it starts a word because it's using the tail end of the next letter, so it looks like a V almost, and then the C next to the R. Like I've run it by a dozen people, and not a dozen people. I've run it by 3 or 4 people, and they're all like, "Man, when I saw the word cries or crying, it really looked like vying or rying. Like I couldn't understand what it was." So, a couple things, but for the most part, 24 out of 26 letters are great. So
that's good for a $7 font, and honestly, it looks great. It pairs really well. I think just some minor adjustments with that.
Yeah, so I think I'm on track. Sorry, we're getting into plans. What did you get? What did you get done?
All right. So today I was hoping to finish the playground, but I just have like the first 2 elements of the playground, and then below that I've started like the fire swing, and then there's some of those bouncy. I don't even know what they're called. There's like animals that are on a spring.
Oh yeah, big giant spring with the animals on them that you ride.
Yeah. So there's a couple of those too that I'm working on, but I wasn't able to finish it because my son refused to go to bed today. So it was just one of those nights of like, okay, I guess I'm working late.
Yeah.
And then there was another period of overtime at my work too, so got home late. Son went to bed late. But I did make some progress, but I was hoping to be done with this. But I think my goal was to actually get it done, like not the whole thing, but just the location that I'm going to be placing all of the characters in.
Right.
I was hoping to have that done tonight, but I think I did actually mention that it might be tonight after the show. So I think I'm still hitting the mark, but I didn't quite hit the mark I was wanting.
Yeah. We'll have the judges review the tape and see whether you actually made it or not.
Yeah, that's a fair point. If anybody wants to track back and see, maybe I'm not holding to it. But I know that I personally don't feel like I hit the mark as well as I would have liked to.
Yeah.
And so, like we'll get into goals and struggles and stuff. But,
yeah. I mean, some progress is better than none. It's still forward momentum, even if you fall short. So.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to happen to everybody. It happened to me last week as well. So, but yeah. Oh, the timer's starting over again. Yeah. So as far as struggles go, before I do that, I wanted to talk about that's actually a really hard angle to do though. So it's not like you're just just sitting there I'm going to sketch this out. Like there's quite a bit of like either math or measuring that you're going to have to do to like make sure everything works right. It's way harder than a lot of people might think. If anybody that's tried it will understand, but it's not an easy scene. So I don't know. I feel like it's understandable.
I'm kind of doing pseudo isometric because a full isometric wouldn't really match the comic.
Right.
But it's kind of cheated isometric perspective. So yeah, that can be complicated. It's like, there's an angle it's got to be at to kind of show all the characters.
Right.
But yeah. All right, let's get into struggles.
Yeah. So that's a well-timed yawn for struggles for me. Yeah. So mainly I'm normally good at, and I think I've mentioned this before. I'm pretty good at once I get going, maintaining momentum and speed. The struggle that I'm having right now is because anywhere from 90 minutes to 3 hours, I have to stop and like feed, change. Like I have to completely shift gears and stop doing what I'm doing. And it takes me a long time to kind of warm up and get momentum. Like that's something I don't know if that's just me or if it's something that I can learn, but I've never been able to like sit down and be warm quickly, and so that's challenging. The start and stop. It's not that I don't have a ton of time because I just have my kid in a bassinet in my studio, and like I had the hours. It was just late at night, sleep deprivation, and then like the constant like start stop thing. And then like their airways are so small that like they make all these weird noises, and every time they do, you think they're gonna die. So it's like really distracting.
Yeah.
Like every time they, or whatever, you're like, oh, he's choking, and then you're like, oh no, he's fine. What was I doing?
Yeah.
And you have to start over again. And so probably everything that I did probably took me twice as long as it should have taken me, just because I'm just not running. I'm not firing all cylinders.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge. I need to stop yawning. That's bad. That's bad TV right there. But yeah, so that's the challenge. I was actually really excited for this art check because I was like flying super high energy for whatever reason about 4 hours ago. I had so much energy. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I never have this much energy in the afternoon. Usually I have it right now. And I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was.
Well, it's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't had kids, but for anybody who has kids, they know it's like it's weird. Like this weird kind of survival thing kicks in, where it's like and like so that thing you were describing with like the cough and being like, are you choking? Do you need this?
Right.
Like you're kind of like
I need to say
it's just like weird biological wiring to just kind of protect this little dude, who's like you have to. But it's also just like there's this very strange like your functioning, your alertness for the baby is like at 110%.
Yeah.
And so it takes away the rest of your alertness to pretty much everything else.
Right.
And that in itself can be really draining. So I get what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, my struggle is overtime at work. A lot of overtime at work. Still training some new employees and stuff, and then just getting overloaded with stuff that has to be in, and that usually means like I get out an hour later and I hit traffic that's worse than it is if I leave on the dot. And so then that traffic adds like another half hour to my commute one way, and then another half hour on the way because like for some reason traffic's been really bad on the way.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like really trying to kind of keep at it, keep engagement, and kind of balance time. But once again, I think that's kind of the struggle of creativity and working on your own projects. So for me, like tonight, my goal is like my son went to bed really late. I got home really late. I'm going to try to kind of hit my workout, get a little boost of energy, and then really like hopefully finish this page because it's not that complicated. It was when I first did these kind of illustrations, but I used to have to do weird kind of technical illustrations for Women's Health magazine, Australia. And it would be like doing yoga in the park. And you'd have to do like this 3/4 perspective kind of shot of like a park from overhead, very similar to this, where you're showing somebody doing yoga like in all the different spots you could do a workout in a park. And I used to have to knock those out pretty quick. And so I got fairly competent at doing it, but but I just need to actually crack down and get it done. So
yeah.
I also have a sore throat. So it's funny. I have a sore throat. You have yawns.
Yeah.
We're making great broadcast right now.
This is excellent. Excellent TV. Good watching.
Yeah, we're pros. That's right. If you guys want to learn broadcasting tips from us, just lack sleep and work overtime a lot.
Yeah, and that's the first lesson in our Skillshare, which we're going to be selling later on in this episode. Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Sign up right here. So let's get into plans for like where we want to be in like a day after a day. So
yeah,
for you,
I think I'm in. I think I'm in survival mode, so I don't even know. I haven't thought about it. I'm planning on doing several things. I'm planning on meeting with you and a few other people to review the text of the book and massage that and work through that. InDesign has this really cool feature. I hate InDesign a lot. I prefer Illustrator for a million reasons, but InDesign has this cool feature where you can have a link and then you can upload a new changes to that document, and the link doesn't change. And so everybody that I've shared that link with, I can continue to make changes on the fly, and it will continue to up. And I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to be collaborating with that. I would like to get I'd like to get the video for this done. I have all the footage, all the time lapse. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. So I'll try to get that done before. Is today Monday? Try to get that done before Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's mainly it. I'm going to try to figure out the best solution for that R and for the C. I want to see if I can do that, and then just kind of massaging the text, and then I'll knock out an Illo Talk video. And then at some point in time, I've got a couple irons in the fire as far as interviews with other artists for Illo Talk interviews, and I will be doing that. And I've got to reach out to a few people as well. But the big goal that I have in the next 12 seconds is I would really like, and I'm not going to push this to the detriment of the project, but I would really like to have a proposal done by the end of the week where I have finished text, finished lettering, a couple sample color pages, and then shoot that off to a number of literary agents. And so that's like kind of the big one by the end of the week. And that's an arbitrary deadline that I've set for myself. But if I don't, then it'll be 5 months and I won't have done anything. So
that's good though. That's a good goal, hefty goal. Which I think good.
So how about you?
Let's see. So I need to get this environment drawn, like the rest of it, by I'm thinking tonight. So by tomorrow, I'd like to have that done by tomorrow morning. And then I'd like to start placing some of the figures in the page. And with that, I'd like to at least have like 4 figures in there, but I'd like to get even further if possible. But with this kind of page where it's just a single page, I want to make it worth while. So the rough pencils will probably take a lot longer than the Tide pencils. Just kind of mapping out all the characters, working on like the movement of each one, kind of getting into like their different costumes and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So that's kind of where I want to be with that. I would like to. Well, I kind of have to practice with my band because we're playing a gig on Saturday.
Right.
So that's pretty cool, and it's kind of it'll be a good sort of motivator because I think about 2 weeks after that we hit the studio and we're going to try to kind of complete a demo. So
cool.
So that's a thing that I got to do. That's a side creative project. And then I would like to get back to that kinetic thing. I feel like I kind of dropped the ball on the kinetic animation.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But in general, like the goal is just to push this comic further and kind of get it done. So we'll see.
Yeah. There's also, I failed to mention this to you because you mentioned a couple other side things. There's some new functionality with some of the equipment that I'm using on live streaming. And so I wanted to play with some of that too, as far as like animations and different things that you can do, like scene transitions and stuff. So
It's exciting.
yeah, probably not this week, but sometime soon. Like to do that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. And I'll just add, I kind of like that this is like it's like a foundation that we can kind of build a lot of cool stuff around, which I think.
Yeah, it's like a little lab. It's pretty cool because like if I do something and it completely bombs, it's like one episode of 31 now, and and it's not the end of the world. Whereas if I do that and something fails during, like, I've got some big artist on that I've been trying to get for a couple months during an interview, then that's not not going to fly, right? But here it's like, well,
Yeah,
we tried it. It's kind of a little sandbox. So yeah, it's cool.
We live streamed from a Walmart parking lot. I mean, we've done this.
This is true.
I think we've also live streamed from a Home Depot parking lot where a plumber was like starting an engine.
Right.
So I mean, there's just this will be a good practice in like keeping that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So cool. I think I will say I finished the Stormborn or the Stormlight, the second book.
Oh, cool.
So I'm excited about that. And then I've taken a brief break to kind of read my friend's book, which I'll just mention it. It's called Disruptive Witness. It's a really super good book. And so that's cool. I'm like midway through that, so I'm excited about kind of getting back to that. But cool. That actually gave me some inspiration too, because it was just like, it's such an epic novel, that series. And I mean, the guy seems like a very prolific writer, and it's just one of those things where you listen to that and then it's like, I'm on what page of my comics, So it's a good motivator to kind of get getting work done. So.
Yeah, I've been getting this feeling that I've kind of acted on a couple times recently. When I first started learning how to draw in 2012, I started a webcomic, and I have a really good story. I was a terrible storyteller at the time, and the comic is awful. Which I mean, everybody's first, whatever. But I still really like the characters, and I still really like the story, and I've actually been starting to write like prose novel style, and I think I might attempt a novel, kind of in between things, because it's not easier to do, but it's more portable than art is a lot of times, and so I think I might start filling in the cracks when the mood strikes me of fleshing out this novel, because I have the whole thing plotted, and I know all the different character arcs and interactions, and I have like a whole Trello board. Anyway, but you getting into Brandon Sanderson and me kind of living vicariously through your first time through that stuff has kind of lit a little fire in that area. And I'm reading a new Neil Gaiman book that I haven't read before now. And anyway, so I don't know. I might be.
Which one, out of curiosity?
Anansi Boys. It's the
so good.
Yeah, sequel to American Gods. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that one. It's interesting. Like, actually, they're both similar in tone too, because Sanderson's kind of doing this like epic mythology,
right?
And Neil Gaiman's like pulling more from the actual mythology and then kind of toying with it and doing his own spin on it. That's good to be reading while you're working on your book right now, because it's like taking a kind of existing story and putting its own spin on it. Which is all right. I think we should call it, because you are going to need to sleep, and we got to look through your book and talk about the writing and some tips and stuff.
Cool. And I don't have the chat window pulled up. Is anybody done anything in the
Ox
chat?
came by to say hello, and that was it. So we have a dead chat room, except for Ox, who's always loyal and always shows up. So thank you, Ox. Thank you for always supporting.
I semi-named my son after Ox. sort of.
Nice. Yeah, a very angry ox.
Yes, mad ox. Okay. Why don't you bring us out this time?
Oh, Ox said he was still here. The intro art is by me, and you can check my work out at quarterlystories.com. You can also check out my comic on Topis.io by searching for Quarterly Stories. Add it to your library there, and you'll be able to check it from your smartphone and Android or whatever mobile device you choose to use. Intro animation was by Cory Kerr. CoryKerr.com is where you can check out the animation. You can check out the sticker stints art. You can check out introverted butterflies and all sorts of awesome stuff, as well as streams of all of his YouTube and whatnot there. And then intro music was by No Saboteurs, my band, and you can check that out at facebook.com/No Saboteurs. And we will see you guys in 2 days. Bye. Thanks again, Ox.
See ya.